guys, I thought I would make a quick video about how I make my prototypes. Gen Con's coming up. I've got 6 different games I'm pitching to different publishers. I set all that up in advance, but I want my prototypes to be good enough not just to demo, but in case they want to copy and they want to try it out. So I designed the game and I have my various playtest versions. Usually I draw them on paper. Actually, like here's what Growl looked like before it was Growl, and before it was Stranger Things. It pretty much just looked like this, just hand drawn. It's funny. I actually on the back, I have Bad Koala's stuff drawn on the back, different kinds of hand drawn stuff. Carnival Koala, Imposter Koala. And that's fine for playtesting, but you want to have your prototypes that you're pitching or showing off to really look good. So if it's a game that involves a lot of specific colors on each card, or different factions or icons, you can actually build a spreadsheet in Google Sheets and export it to like a XLS format. And then I import that into InDesign, and there's ways you can make one template that imports your whole XLS format. And so basically you can even say what art image goes with each faction in the spreadsheet, and so then it just automatically generates all the cards including the art, so each faction uses the same basic art, which is good enough for a prototype. And then I print them out and I put them in sleeves, and I use, you know, in this case, Buffy the Vampire Slayer collectible card game, just whatever card backs I have. So the way I do it, if I, in this case, I don't really want to print a lot of color. In fact, I don't even have a printer right now. So I email my files to printandgo@fedex.com. And then I just drive to FedEx, and there's like the self-help machine. And I pretty much just type in the little code that the email sent me, and then hit print, and it's great. And it just prints all my stuff quite simply here. So all you need to do this, you don't really need much. You pretty much need Photoshop, or you can, you know, rent it for a month or whatever you do, or some other document layout program. But I make each of my cards as a separate file, or I start with a template and then I duplicate the template and make each similar card similar. And then I make, if all I have to print is 8.5 by 11, then I print 8 cards lined up like so. And then if you have access to FedEx, you can easily and quickly, without any assistance from the people who work there, you can just print out 11 by 17, which is how I do like real big, like monsters and things like that, which I can spray glue onto pieces of cardboard, stuff like that. And of course you need a, this is like a $10 or $15 cutting surface, paper cutter. It doesn't have to be perfect, so I usually cut about 4, 5, 6 sheets at a time. You can hold them up to the light to make sure that the cards are all aligned. I just whip. I mean, I go fast. You know, I line it up and I cut. And then I hold them all together and I line them up and I cut. It doesn't have to be perfect. You want to make sure that your cards are not 2.5 by 3.5, because they're going to have to fit into card sleeves, which have to, you know, they're only maybe 2 millimeters wider. So you really want like 2.47 inches by 3.47 inches or something like that. Otherwise you might, if cards are adjacent, you're going to have to do 2 cuts, one here and one here, to make sure they fit in the sleeve. So the other thing you can do is you can actually make them 3.5 by, or 2.5 by 3.5. And then basically, if you bring it in as a JPEG instead of a PDF at FedEx, you can just say fit to page when you print, and it'll actually make everything a tiny bit smaller, and it usually works out pretty much perfect. Or if you have access to controls, you can just print. I usually print at, I think, 97%, 98% should work to get them the right size, and that's pretty much how I do it. And it looks good, and it works out. Now, some people use print-on-demand services where they print really high-quality, professional-looking cards from China or Canada or wherever, and that's fine if you want to do that. I don't think it's necessary, and honestly, I wouldn't do that, because by the time your pitch rolls around, or your playtest, you would have probably made, if you're anything like me, made so many changes to your prototype that you're basically going to hate whatever arrives in the mail 2 weeks later. So I don't bother. I don't make printed prototypes, like really professional printed prototypes, until everything is 100%. Because I'd rather, even though it's actually more expensive probably technically per copy to do it the way I do it here, it's so much faster, and the speed is really the advantage, because you can iterate. If you change one card, you just quickly go and print one card. Whereas if you have a professionally printed deck, well, yeah, you could sleeve them and then fix the one you need to fix, but that's basically just doing the same thing again. I'd rather just do it one way and keep to that way. The other thing is it's fast. You know, I can send a file to print and go at fedex.com at about 11 a.m. and at 11:15 have the entire thing printed out perfectly. And if something doesn't go right, you just tell the person at the FedEx that it didn't go right, and they just give you your money back. And who likes to buy printer cartridges anyway? Not me. And then you gotta have the guilt of throwing away your old printer cartridge when you're supposed to recycle it. This is guilt-free. There's no printer cartridges. Well, there are, but that's FedEx's problem. This game's called Gnome Garden, and it is a game about garden gnomes fighting for dominion of the garden. So they're calling upon elemental spirits to grant them special privileges. And as boring garden gnomes, don't you think we deserve some special privileges? I do. Okay, and then once you're done with your cards, you simply take one of your failed games, something that didn't sell well, or some old junk game, or blank cards, or whatever, prototype cards, and you take your custom designed sleeves, like these here, or you can get just any sleeves from the store, and you slide the card that you don't want to see here. Just note, obviously, if you use clear sleeves, you're going to have all of the backs of your cards are going to have to match. So if you have sleeves that have one opaque side, then like this homemade one, then doesn't matter what your backing cards are, they can all be different. You can use the plague back and it looks just as good. And I actually do all the backs first, and then I do all the cards. To do the big characters, what I do is I approximately put them on to a piece of punch board like this with glue stick, and then I roughly cut out like this, just so I can fit it on the paper cutter. And then when it's all glued and lined up, I destroy the paper cutter. Problem solved. You can get these little plastic token things and pop it on like that, and you're all set. Fun. If you need to make custom dice, I usually just take them from other games. But for custom dice, I literally just take a sticker and I draw my thing on there, where I print it out and put it on like that. It's so simple. You can get blank dice that you use, but I don't do that. If you need a custom token like that, I just buy these prototype wood tokens. And I went to Michael's and I got this is a 1.5 inch punch, and you can print out whatever you want. I need a plague token. Go like this. That does not look like black core. I think I got ripped off. You go like this and print, punch your plague token, yeah. And then I use just a glue stick, put the glue stick here. And then I have my little plague token. Hooray for me. And you end up with this. See, this is this is why you don't want to do it too professionally, because you're going to make updates. You're all ready to go. And don't forget your cell sheet. You got to have a cell sheet. All right. That's that. Good luck with everything, and see you at Gen Con.